what are some of the things before you start videoing to increase your conversions? You know, things like your ideal client, what kind of videos work, like how to use YouTube, those kind of things around, like, what do we need to do to increase conversions into coming into counseling?
Yeah. So basically, what we're talking about is a little bit more of the content of the videos. And we always tell, I mean, when we make videos for people, you know, I was just talking with a potential client who was like, we got these 2 videos out, they're not working that well, and we want to, you know, we want to redo our videos. I was like, all right, great. What we're going to do is, you know, do some branding around who is your ideal client and kind of figure that out and do some scripting around that and kind of really get down to what is their pain point? How do you help them? What do you call into action? And he was kind of like, well, that kind of sounds like a lot of work. I don't know if, I think we would just kind of want to keep the content of our original videos. We just don't want them to look better. And I was like, I was just thinking like, man, I don't know if we're the right people for you, because we don't believe that's really necessarily gonna, I mean, we try our best to shoot, you know, as good looking videos as we can. I think they look pretty great, but you know,
Yeah.
the magic of what you're doing when you do a video is how are you speaking to the needs of your ideal client versus talking all about yourself, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So these videos we were going to do for this person, the way that they're already scripted is like, here's our core values and here's what we do overseas and here's, you know, why we're the best dental office. It's like, how
So
about
big focus on the practice rather than the client.
Exactly. You got to focus on the client. So you have to ask, you know, what is their struggle and what journey are they on and what's the next step for them? So that's kind of how we talk about ideal client. That's what really need to focus on when we're doing a video. That's what leads to high conversions, is people getting hooked in. This person understands me. They know how to help me, and they're calling me and inviting me in to a relationship. That is huge for conversion. We already talked about empathy. One that's assuming, you know, that that tells them that you're aware of their pain. And then a couple just little things. You want to keep the video short. At least one that you're putting on social media. You want it to be under a minute, even under 30 seconds, with just really clear. Most people just kind of blabble on in videos. You can just go, hey, my name is Brendan. I help therapists, you know, create videos, and here's 3 tips for creating better videos. And then you list 3 tips briefly and go, if that's interesting to you, click below to read the whole blog or to see the full video. And that's a really high converting thing. We found that even if it's a 15-second video, just introducing yourself, telling them, I have 5, even if you don't list the tips, I've got 5 tips to help you, you know, overcome your anxiety. Watch the full video below. Boom, conversion. People, there's clarity, people get it. It's quick, it's simple. The other thing is when you put it on your website, we've talked a lot about social media, but you put it on your website, you want to do a YouTube upload or Vimeo upload and embed that on your website above the first fold. So this is another thing on the main page. Another thing that we do that we see happen with people we've done videos for, and people have, you know, gone through the whole script writing process, have filmed the video, have paid money for it, and then they bury the video in some obscure, you know, side tab, and it's at the bottom of this thing. And because they don't want to ruin their website, you know, they don't want to rearrange anything. And we actually encourage people to build their website around their video. If you do a video with us, for example, we do all the branding with you, and especially if you don't have a website, we do all the branding with you, and then you can you already have the brand now and the taglines and even some of the design. You can build your website around a video. My point is you want to have it above the first fold, with a call to action button below, so that people can, when they go to their website, that's usually what they want to see, is they want to interact with you, and then a call to action at the end.
And by above the fold, that means what shows up.
I'm sorry. Yes.
I just want to make sure if people don't know that, they can.
It's anachronistic. So basically, above the fold means when you open up the webpage, you don't have to scroll down to see the video. That's really
actually a little piece of history that comes from newspapers, because it was what would show above the fold of the newspaper without flipping it over or opening it. So that headline says Titanic sank, like that's above the fold.
Yeah.
So what are things? like, I know that one thing you guys teach is how to speak about what someone's missing out on if they don't come do counseling with you. Like, how do you do that without feeling manipulative? Like I don't want to be like, if you don't do counseling, your marriage is going to fall apart. Like, that's not, like, that feels really icky to do something like that. But how do you do it in a way that someone feels like, I don't want to miss out on a better life?
Yeah.
How do you do that in a video?
Yeah. It's kind of like, I don't know if anyone bakes bread out there, but when I bake a loaf of bread, you don't need to put very much salt in. You just have to sprinkle it in and it tastes good. But if you leave the salt out, even just what little salt that you were supposed to put in, if you leave it out, it just tastes terrible. So you don't need to put a whole lot of that in there in your videos, but just a little bit is worth it. You know, is going to make the difference. And I think even just leaning into their existing pain points, you know, hey, if you're struggling, you know, you may be having a hard time getting out of bed in the morning, and maybe because you're dealing with depression, and you're losing hours at work, and you're worried about your relationships. You don't have to worry anymore, you know, about your relationships. Come in for therapy. You know, like, that's a really pretty now you've already empathized with them. I think empathy is the key there. If you already empathize with their pain, you don't really need to do a whole lot of, hey, if you don't come in, your life is going to fall apart. But speaking their language of, feel like I'm worried. Yeah, you don't have to worry anymore that you know, that you're about your relationships. You can come in and see me, and we'll work on it together.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, even just the way you said that, I love it. I'm glad we got that on recording.